Maybe people are expecting too much from one budget, but let's not look at one budget per se. I don't think you can expect too many tax reforms in one budget, but certainly the policy framework on how the government intends to go forward is something which will be laid out here. So I don't think markets should be disappointed at all.
Mr. Seshasayee, comment on that. Do you think that markets will not be disappointed? The fear really is that so much is being expected from this budget. At the end of the day, the finance minister doesn't quite have a magic wand and he has serious constraints on the fiscal side.
Yes, I think, Sandeep, the question that you should really be asking is what the industry should not expect from the budget. I don't think, industry should expect that the budget would be some magic button which will start delivering, spewing out escalating growth rates from Q3 and Q4.
You spoke about the fisc and so did Mr. Seshasayee. Let's get a word from Mr. Mistry, really. 4.1 was a target set for this financial year. It looks unrealistic. I don't think anyone expected the government to get there. Do you think we can afford fiscal slippage? Do you think the priority now should be on reviving growth, or should the finance minister adhere to serious amount of fiscal discipline? What's your view?
My view is that a 4.1% fiscal deficit for this year looks very, very difficult, particularly in the context of the fact that this government would in my sense, start looking at long-term issues rather than the immediate short-term issues, which means making serious investments in infrastructure, which means creating new towns and cities, and so on and so forth. And therefore, my sense is even if the fisc slips a little bit from what the original target was, the 4.1, I think it should be all right. My sense is if we can get around 4.5, which is maybe marginally better than where we were last year, people should not be unhappy.
The biggest signal for corporate India and for foreign investors really is what does the government do with the retrospective tax? Do you think he will axe the tax?
Well, I think this is definitely the biggest signal they can give to the community at large, that India needs business, they can trust Indian government, they can trust Indian laws, we will not be arbitrary. And I also feel that this is the smallest price to pay by taking the bold step of just reversing that I would say unfortunate decision which was taken. This could go a long way in reviving the confidence in India.
Mr. Seshasayee, realistically, what can we expect from the government in this budget to revive the manufacturing sector? You yourself made the point that industry can't just look to government for concessions. So if it's not going to come in the way of tax sops, and there is some concession there with the extension of the excise duty relief for auto and capital goods, but what can the government do within the framework of the budget to revive the manufacturing sector?
From the point of view of the budget, and we look at merely budget as an instrument of fiscal management and looking at just the taxation issue, anything that you do to revive manufacturing through the instrument of taxation is at best a palliative. What this country needs is a very different kind of a paradigm. And the only way that it can happen is to bring the MNCs into India through the SEZ or the Manufacturing Economic Zone, whatever name they are called. If you get them to come and build large-scale manufacturing operations, not only for the domestic market, but also for the world market, in other words, replicate what was done 3 decades ago by China, so long as there is an invitation to overseas manufacturers to come into India and create the manufacturing base, then we will begin to see manufacturing revival taking place. But if it is going to be just a taxation related thing, an excise duty reduction here or a customs duty reduction there, I'm afraid that's not going to deliver us from evil.